let us invite our next guest onto the show. Can we please have Tyrone Roach? Tyrone, are you with me? Hey. How are you?
All right.
It's great to meet you. Last time I think I saw you at certainly 2019 at a place called the Tabernacle.
Yep.
In Ladbroke Grove.
Yes, you did. Yes.
Yes, and that was last year. So, you're looking well, sir, may I say. Tyrone Roach, the UK correspondent of the Barbados Nation newspaper, PRO for the National Council of Barbadian Associations, and the chairperson of the Barbados Overseas Community and Families Association. Had to get that in, yes?
Really? Did you really?
Yeah. First of all, I'm going to have to ask you, I'm asking all my guests this as we start off, just to be nice and polite and to really know what's going on. How have you been through this crisis here, the COVID-19 in the UK?
Well, it's been a bit of a challenge now because we've been locked down for so long. It's almost getting quite boring, isn't it? Really, having to be unlike the other people who are learning new skills like baking bread and all this kind of food, I can't cope with that. But no, it has been boring, but it's necessary, isn't it? Really.
We're going to go a bit more about something because we want to talk about people in Barbados as well, because I think we could talk a bit more about what's happening in Barbados. I realized that by looking at the latest stats that there's up to 132 tests was done, positive, 132 carried out by the Barbados Santos Public Health Laboratory, which was on the 16th of the 5th. And they say that out of 86, 44 women and 42 men, 77 people have recovered. Unfortunately, 7 have died and 12 remain in isolation. Is that correct, sir?
I think it's just, I got different figures to you, but I think it says that we've only had 7 deaths.
Yeah, that's what I've got from yesterday's.
Yeah, and then 24 positive cases, I got 207 tests. But there's this thing, it's been handled quite well, and Barbados managed to shut down on March the 28th.
Yes.
And they're moving into a new phase from tomorrow, where they're opening the hairdressers and pediatricians and stuff like that. And also, they're allowing people to go to the beach in the evenings as well, because the beach was closed down as well.
Yes.
And then they allow people to go to the beach from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And then now from Monday, they'll be allowed to go from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, something like that.
Oh, that's good. That's good indeed.
And you can buy your rum. And during the lockdown, they weren't able to buy rum as well.
This is it. This is it.
It must be pretty horrific.
Yeah, alcohol was banned. I mean, in a way, it was good. Most of the Caribbean islands seemingly did the same thing. They actually sort of banned alcohol to be sold. They actually sort of done a proper lockdown, if you will. They did a 24-hour lockdown initially, and that was sort of going on there. The beaches were closed and locked off. We've heard about places in St. Lucia, as well as Grenada and what have you, that they did do a proper lockdown, if you will, and limited amount of people coming out for the stores, and literally only to get their essentials. And I heard that Barbados actually did a alphabetical thing, that if you're on your surname, on your alphabet, then you can actually go out to the store.
Yeah, we were small enough to be able to do that, and I think it worked quite well. But there's a different dynamic of working, queuing up in the hot sun for 2 hours, than queuing up in the hot sun in England, because in the cold sun in England, because we have the long queues as well. But it was that you have the weather that you can hang out, but I was certainly wouldn't be 2 hours.
Yeah. I mean, of course, because it's so hot and sweltering. But of course, the masks is vital, is essential.
Well, it's essential. I'm not one of the people that think that we really need to have masks, really, because I just feel that if you maintain the social distance, but it's not my law, and it's not something that is set in stone by any governments or scientists out there. there's not.
But certainly in St. Lucia, we spoke to the tourism minister last week.
Yes.
St. Lucia, it is like you cannot come out of your house and attend any shop or go to even a petrol station without your mask or your gloves. And my sister resides in Barbados, and it's the same there.
Well, you can't come up with a mask. Well, it's a guidance. It's not. I'm not sure if it was a law.
They do. In St. Lucia, they definitely have made it. That is it. You cannot approach. You cannot go into a store. You cannot go into it without a mask. You cannot go to a petrol station without mask or gloves, and that is their law on the land of St. Lucia. I thought it was the same in Barbados. That if you are going to attend a supermarket, any sort of store, pharmacy, you should have your gloves and your mask.
Yeah, you're advised to have gloves and mask.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of what helped it, because this is why the numbers are low, because it was shut down. The islands were majority, I think, did it around the same time. They shut down quite quickly. They shut down hard for the first at least 24, 48 hours. And then they sort of tippy-toed with the supermarkets and what have you. They were really quite strict. And what they did do very early on was the testing, but they also did the mask. They maintained that. Cover your mouth. You didn't have to wear a surgical mask, but the covering. Yeah.
So your point is that the masks were very important. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not. Let's agree to differ on that one.
Okay. well, as far as
you're not using much mask in London, are you?
Yeah, it's a success story, because, for instance, in St. Lucia, they were up to 19, 2 of which were UK, but 17, if you will, at St. Lucia, who were fully recovered, no deaths, no new cases. It's a success story. If you follow the rule of doing things like that, you can sort of confine it as well. I mean, even to say all of the borders have been carefully sort of monitored and shut down, haven't they, all across the country?
That was a success story, closing down the border, so stopping other people from bringing it in, because most cases were mainly people who came in from abroad. So
that's right.
Closing down. Hinder the spread of the virus. Yeah.
So talk to me about the Barbados Nation newspaper, and for those who are not au fait with that publication, it's a weekly, a fortnightly.
Yeah.
What information can anyone receive by obtaining that newspaper?
Well, the paper is a weekly edition of the last week's stories in the daily paper. So we compile the stories, and we cover right across the islands as well. So you will have pages on all the different Caribbean islands, how they're doing during this particular area as well. And it's sold in the UK, right across the UK in New Zealand. So handle their operations over here, and also adds stories about what's going on in the Barbadian community in London, as well as. So I suppose I'm due next to do a story on you, Pam.
Yeah, well, exactly. I was just thinking about the fact that, as well as you talking about what's happening in Barbados to the expats here, there's also an element as well. Excuse me, that shouldn't be happening.
Oh dear.
I see that's live. That is really live for you. That shouldn't be happening at all here. Okay, so we talk about the UK for the Asian people in the UK to know, or American people in the UK to know about what's happening to their relatives and to the expats in the UK. So they could get information, can they not, about in the newspaper about what's happening over here.
Yeah, but in a small section of it. But the paper is basically aimed at the older generation who are not au fait with the online situations.
Right.
And one of the biggest areas for the paper is the deaths. So older people will just go to the newspaper and start pages on family notices, so they can find out who might have died at home that they knew and stuff like that. So it's a connection with the homeland, and it's also available online as well. So if people want to access the paper, they can also access
Yeah,
the
yeah,
many Barbadians out there who have stories that they think are relevant and they think that Barbadians at home would like to know about it. I mean, those who have been involved in the COVID frontline, like care workers and stuff like that. If you want to tell your story, then contact us here at the Barbados Nation newspaper, and we will put your stories in there, because it's quite a lot of Caribbean people as a whole have been involved in the NHS and in the hospitals and care homes and in the frontline supporters and stuff like that. And they're very much part of this virus thing. But one of the things I would like to highlight really is what at the moment the top tier of our elderly community are dying quite quickly.
yeah.
Then it's upon that quite a lot of the older persons in our community who have had underlying illnesses have been dying quite quickly. And I think throughout the month of April in London, we knew about 15 people who have died throughout April.
Wow.
Well, everything is being put down as COVID-related illnesses at the moment.
Yeah. They are putting that down. Yeah, essentially that, if somebody does die of a heart attack, that they would, or they have stroke issues or whatever, and respiratory problems, they still cover it by saying COVID related, and it's an issue that is being looked at right now as we speak. Why is it always being put with COVID related? And maybe it is COVID related. Maybe if the person had a heart attack or a stroke, without this virus being around, they could survive. They could have probably survived it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're saying it is COVID related, because possibly they could have survived the stroke. They could have survived the heart attack. They could have dealt with the respiratory issues that they do have. And we're going to find out more in the days and weeks to come about that. But you are right in saying that when they talk about for times more likely for a particular a black man, black woman to die than their white counterparts, it's in the makeup. They're saying it's to do with our underlying things that most of us in the community may be suffering with: diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, sickle cell, lupus. There's loads to say, but it's still at a higher rate in terms of, I say the higher rate in terms of the NHS workers. Now that's because they're right at the front line, and if they've got these underlying conditions, then they're right at the front line. Obviously, they are going to go quicker. If you say the immune system, that lacking of vitamin D, for instance, they're saying that we need to make sure we're stacked up with vitamin D within us, because that's the way our bodies are made up. We need our vitamin D things going on. Again, if we are not putting that, many of them were putting that front line in those strategic places, whether it's a care home, whether it's in the hospital, then perhaps, of course, loads of them may needlessly, we wouldn't have had these deaths. They are also coming out with the fact that perhaps their bosses could push them away from the front line and maybe let them go into other departments within the hospital. Do you agree with that?
I think that might be difficult logistically to just shunt people around, but that is something for the experts to talk about rather than me as a mere observer, because I don't think that it's easy to run any organization where you select, and even some of the same nurses that you're talking about, might feel within themselves that this is what they're meant to do, care for people, and they might not want to move from the front line. So there's all those different equations involved.
Their choice.
Yeah, we can't really speculate on that.
I understand that. Tyrone, the time always flies by. We've got to wrap this up. We're going to talk again. You're going to be back on again. You do know that, so keep your diaries a bit free. So, but if you could give to our viewers contact details of where they could look up about the Barbados Nation newspaper, any details at all on that, sir?
You can access it online at www.nationnews.com, or you can, any news agents in the UK, you can contact them and get all the newspaper. Just ask for the Barbados Nation by name. And by the way, just for a little word, the West Indian tour of England is not off yet officially,
Okay.
So just in case they might play behind those, with just social distances in the stadium. So bear that in mind, because I know you're an ardent English supporter.
Nice one. Thank you, Tyrone. We'll talk soon. Take care. Take
Bye-bye.
care. Lovely. Tyrone Roach there.